Hello anime and manga fans, I'm Kyle Glockner and welcome back to another semester of Animanga. After Dragon Ball Super ended back in March of 2018, we very quickly got an incredibly vague trailer for a new Dragon Ball movie. It was just Goku hopping around a bit and a guy getting angry, and that was all we had until that fateful day in July, when we finally got the title of the movie, Dragon Ball Super Broly. Now a lot of people were hesitant about hearing that Broly was going to be brought back in this new movie, but just how did it do? Well, today, I'll be sharing my thoughts on how it did in this review of Dragon Ball Super Broly. This movie starts us off with a glimpse into the past as we learn about the redeveloped origins of Broly and his father Paragus. We also get a retelling of the events that led up to Planet Vegeta's destruction. Once we cut back to the present day, we see Goku and Vegeta sparring sometime after the Tournament of Power. From there, Broly appears on Earth, and the fight begins. Now I will say that as far as the plot goes, overall the movie was lacking a bit. Most of the plot was catching us up on what happened leading up to the present, and once we got there, the movie is mostly one giant fight. But I will say that what little story we got was very good. I know a lot of longtime fans weren't super big on the inclusion of Dragon Ball Minus, which completely changes Bardock's character, but I honestly didn't mind the change. I thought it fit very well with the other aspects of the story that this movie had to tell about the Saiyans of old. I will say that, in my opinion, there are two glaring aspects of the plot that I did not like at all, but in order to avoid spoilers, I'm not going to get into them here. Moving on from the grand plot of the movie, I want to talk about probably the most important aspect of this movie that I and many fans were anxious about, and that is the character of Broly. I went into this movie unsure of how exactly Akira Toriyama was going to rebuild Broly as a character and make him different from his counterpart from the Dragon Ball Z films, but boy was I impressed. Broly's backstory built him to be an incredibly pure character and made it very easy to sympathize with him throughout the movie. In my opinion, this movie had only one job, and that was to make Broly a good, or at the very least, likable character, and I think it succeeded flawlessly. Changing Broly from the flat, boring muscle man that he was back in the original Broly movies to the dynamic and interesting character that he was in this movie really shows just how far Dragon Ball has come over the past 30 years. Now, the last thing I want to talk about with this movie is the animation. This movie was a visual masterpiece. Everything looked so well drawn and polished. The fight scenes were absolutely incredible, and probably some of my favorite throughout all of Dragon Ball. Again, I don't want to name any specific scenes here to avoid spoilers, but I can say that everyone gets their moment in the spotlight over the course of this movie, and that did a lot for me in terms of my enjoyment overall. I do, however, feel that it is important to talk about the use of CG in the fight scenes. Now, I do feel that I have to give credit where credit is due. The CG in this movie looks very good, which is a big compliment from me because I can't stand CG in anime. However, it's still CG. And it's very clear when there's a switch between the 2D and CG animation, and overall it does get a little jarring. But Dragon Ball Super Broly is a fantastic movie. It might very well have cemented itself as one of my favorite Dragon Ball movies. Like I said, there were some things that I disliked about certain aspects of it, but nothing's perfect. Also, if you want to hear a more detailed discussion of the movie, which will include spoilers, check out our video where Cameron and I talk about the movie more in depth. Dragon Ball Super Broly was written by Akira Toriyama, directed by Tatsuya Nagamine, and animated by Toei Animation. If you're a Dragon Ball fan, even if you haven't watched Super or if you don't like Broly, go see this movie. It's easily one of the best so far. But that's all the time I have for today, so let me know what you think by tweeting me at ZTV Goofing Off using the hashtag Animanga. Until then, I'm Kyle Glockner. This has been Animanga.